If you're stuck in a weight loss plateau, the first thing I want you to do is to focus on your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically, the activities that you're doing throughout the day that you wouldn't consider to be exercise, yet burn calories. For example, I burn an extra 300 calories a day working at my stand-up desk compared to if I was sitting down at my desk. And the beauty is that I don't think of it as exercise. It doesn't feel like I'm doing something that should be burning calories. It's mindless, it's effortless, and at the end of my workday, I have tons of energy to give to the other activities that I really enjoy doing. So it doesn't wear me down at all. Actually, it energizes me, it invigorates me. By being on my feet, I feel more focused, I feel more productive, I have a lot more mental clarity, and it feels a lot better on my hips than it does when I am sitting at a desk. So there's so many benefits that come from standing at a desk compared to sitting. But yeah, part of it is the calorie burn. Now, when it comes to most people going through a fat loss phase, they tend to increase their actual exercise. They add in a workout here and there. They more often than not will add in more cardio, which makes sense. I mean, eat less, move more seems to be the formula to lose fat. The thing is, if you're doing more structured exercise, you really got to pay attention to how that's impacting your NEAT. To give you an example here, when I was competing in my first bodybuilding contest, I wanted to accelerate the fat loss process. I was already weight training at that time 6 days per week. I was doing cardio after every single weight training session. Stair climber was my cardio of choice for the most part. I thought, I'm going to accelerate this more. I'm going to get up a little earlier, hit the gym before everyone else is awake, and do some more stair climbing there, burn an extra 300 calories. The thing I noticed is that I just was exhausted the rest of the day. I didn't want to move my body outside of the gym. So on paper, it's like, yeah, what's going on here? Like, I'm doing more exercise, yet I'm not losing any more weight. What is happening? Basically, I was moving less outside of the gym. We're going to burn way more calories doing NEAT than we will burning calories in the gym. So I basically did not want to work at my stand-up desk. I wanted to sit down to do my work, and basically any opportunity I had, I wanted to sit on my butt when I wasn't in the gym. So that 300 calories that I burnt extra on the stair climber was negated by not working at my stand-up desk, and then I even burned less calories because I was sitting down more and more throughout the day than I typically do. So if you're going to increase your activity, I really want you to have that heightened sense of awareness to how you are outside of the gym. Are you moving less than you typically do? Do you find that you are sitting more than you typically do? Because all that extra activity may be kind of pointless and useless if it's being counteracted by you sitting more. A lot of times it is very subconscious. Our body is smart. It wants to kind of preserve itself. It's going to adapt to that extra activity. It's going to kind of give you all those little signs that, all right, let's sit down, let's take a break. And really you don't think anything of it until you have this heightened sense of awareness to how you are changing your habits, changing your behaviors to accommodate the extra activities, actual exercise that you're doing there. So that is tip number one. Tip number two is to do things that are going to increase your energy levels. Like I said, like working at my stand-up desk elevates my mood. It does energize me. It does make me more productive. It does make me more focused. But the number one thing you can do is to prioritize your sleep. Making sure you're establishing a consistent sleep-wake pattern, getting an adequate amount of sleep each and every night. I highly encourage you, make 7 hours your bare bones minimum. If you're in a fat loss phase, I encourage you to sleep as much as you possibly can, preferably 8 to 9 hours if you can. I find my sweet spot is 8.5 hours. When I'm getting 8.5 hours of sleep each and every day, I am able to give the best of myself to all that I'm doing throughout the day. So start with your sleep and then focus on your nutrition, like consuming quality, whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods most of the time. Now, I highly encourage you when you're going through a fat loss phase to work, improve upon, and build upon your own natural eating tendencies, but I highly encourage you to really I'd say kind of accelerate that process of learning how to incorporate more nutrient-rich foods into your diet, because it's going to provide you with quality fuel to perform your best. I see it time and time again with others. I've definitely noticed that with myself when I went through a 4-week mini cut and I consumed nothing but whole natural nutrient-rich foods. I was actually hitting personal best throughout that fat loss phase because I just was fueling my body with quality foods that were nourishing me. And paying attention to your macro ratios as well is really important, because I see a lot of guys during a fat loss phase over prioritizing their protein. They're trying to hit that 1.2, 1.5 grams of protein throughout this fat loss phase in order to preserve their muscle mass, and they are sacrificing their fats and their carbs at that expense. So I encourage you to kind of try to still take a balanced approach with your nutrition. I find I naturally gravitate towards 40% carbs, 30% fats, 30% proteins. So I kind of pay attention to that. Even when my calories are a little bit lower, it may mean that hitting 30% of my protein for my calorie target, I may be even a little bit under 1 gram of protein per pound body weight. And understand that that's not it's a general rule of thumb, but it's okay if it's a little bit lower than that. Carbs are muscle sparing as well. And if you're getting an adequate amount of carbs in your diet, especially quality, whole, natural, nutrient rich food carb sources like sweet potatoes, oats, your veggies, all that kind of stuff is going to provide you with the fuel to energize you, give the best to your training and your overall active lifestyle, making sure that your fats are in a healthy range where it's not going to mess with your hormones and anything like that. So don't increase your protein because at the expense of all the other macronutrients, just because you're trying to get more than that 1 gram of protein per pound body weight, because that's what all the experts say out there. So try to take a balanced approach with your nutrition, but again, doing the things that are going to energize you. I find like staying hydrated during a fat loss phase is even more important as well, because again, that's going to help with your mental clarity, your mood, your focus and everything. And you'll notice that if you are dehydrated, you're not going to be as strong during your workout. So making sure that you're staying hydrated is going to allow you to perform your best as well. And tip number 3 is to understand that you may need to consume fewer calories than you prefer to, especially if you lost a fair amount of weight throughout this process. It's not that you are going into starvation mode, that your metabolism is getting sluggish. It's just that you're carrying around less weight. So your body doesn't need to burn as much calories to move your body from point A to point B. Now, I wouldn't recommend you do anything drastic by dropping 500 calories or anything like that. Just start by reducing 100 calories and see how your body responds. And again, have that heightened sense of awareness to your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Are you reducing your 100 calories there, but again, you're starting to feel a little bit tired, a little bit sluggish, so you're moving less. You want to make sure you're not kind of doing that trade-off thing. So if you're going to reduce your calories, have that heightened sense of awareness to your overall activity, your overall energy, how it's impacting everything you're doing throughout the day. But again, if you're noticing a little bit of movement on the scale, maybe you want to push it a little bit more, reduce it by 200 calories. There's no set number, a calorie target that you should be at. So don't get caught up seeing what anyone else is eating to lose fat. Don't get caught up in worrying about if you're going to lose muscle mass throughout this process. I find a lot of guys unnecessarily stress over the worry of losing muscle when they are reducing their calories more. If you're resistance training, you're getting an adequate amount of sleep, you're getting an adequate amount of each macronutrient, unless you are like close to stage shredded 5, 6, 7% body fat, you really have very little to worry about when it comes to losing muscle mass throughout this process, as long as you're not losing more than 1% of your total body weight per week, which if you're at a weight loss plateau, that's not happening. So it's not like your body's going to think to itself, all right, we're not losing any weight right now. You reduce your calories by 100. Let's just take it all from your muscle right now. Like that's not going to happen. You still have fat stores there for your body to pull from. Again, you're doing all the right things leading up to it. So don't be afraid to push that deficit a little bit more. Again, it can be a little daunting seeing the number itself there, but again, chances are, our tracking when it comes to calories, like how much we're actually burning, if you're tracking how many calories you're burning and how many calories you're consuming, it's just an estimation. We really suck at estimating how many calories we're consuming. We're just trying to give ourselves the best estimation as we possibly can, but know that there are errors. So if you're like consuming 1,500 calories, chances are you're consuming more than that. So I wouldn't worry about the exact number itself. Just pay attention to how your body's responding. That's really what it comes down to.